Okay, finally, I got everything together to share with you my Alaska trip. And as what I described in my upcoming videos, I'm going to share with you what are the 5 things we did on the cruise ship, and when to go best, what to bring, which deck is the best, and so forth. So let's start. Here is the trip, and we didn't do it through travel agents, but through self-planning, and it gives us more freedom and at our own pace, and I think it's more efficient, customized to our needs, and I believe it's also a little bit cheaper than going through the agents. Anyway, like I stated, we only did 5 things on the cruise. You eat, you drink, you play, you sleep, and then of course, repeat. Yes, repeat. Anyway, I think part 2 of this series, I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures of the things we ate on the cruise, Norwegian Sun cruise, as well as the pictures I took when we went out to play, and the cabins in the Norwegian Sun that we stayed. Anyway, which Alaska cruise I took and why? It's really because of the I didn't take the round trip, Seattle to Seattle or Vancouver to Vancouver, because I wanted to be able to see more in less time. So we took the one-way trip instead of the round trip. And it's really because of, some months are cheaper, and also our schedules, so it really varies, based on your personal needs. It could vary. Of course, it's going to be different from mine. A lot of people mention in the tripadvisors.com that you should take the northbound, because as you travel north, it gets colder, so you will be able to enjoy more. Well, what happens is then a lot more people taking the northbound. So the northbound cruise, 7-day cruise, is actually more expensive than the southbound. So it's cheaper and less crowded to travel southbound. By that I meant they have 2 itinerary. The southbound will go from Seward, Alaska to Vancouver. The northbound, like I said, this is 7 days. Okay, I didn't put it here, but I should. 3 or 7 days. One way. It's either southbound or northbound. So the northbound will go, of course, from Vancouver, going north to Seward, Anchorage. Now, again, because we flew all the way to Anchorage and took the bus from Anchorage Airport to Seward, Alaska. So we also did a side trip to Denali National Park. Rented a car out of the Anchorage Airport, and you should check out my YouTube videos for the Denali National Park visit. Over there, I also gave you some tips, like you should rent a 4-wheel drive, the 4x4, because it's taller, higher, you can see better with regard to the animals you will be seeing versus a lower regular sedan rental. So that's just one example of the tips I'll give you in that video. Now, the next question is, should we buy the cabins in the upper decks or the lower decks? I chose the upper decks, so it's more like deck 10 for the 11s or I think there's no 11 or 12. Maybe there is, but it's like super expensive. So, so I didn't go for those. But I chose the deck 10, which is the upper deck. It's more expensive, but you get to go to the pool or go to the facility or go to the observation deck quicker, because a lot of time you ended up waiting for the elevators to come if you stay in the lower decks, which is a lot cheaper. Of course, the downside of the upper decks is when the seas are rough, and the upper decks tend to swing more than the lower decks. So that's the, give and take. You really have to decide which, you want. I chose the upper decks because it's easier to get to, because the restaurants are mostly on the deck 11 and 12 versus lower decks. It's much easier to get to. I can just, take one flight of stairs. I'm there to have my, dinner, lunch, whatever, coffee, water, whatever. Anyway, you can also choose the ocean view. I didn't because it's cheaper to stay inside, and most of the time we were going to be in the common area anyway, so we chose the inside cabin. Now, I would not suggest to buy the unlimited drinks because it's a lot of money, like something like it. I think it's super expensive to me. If you don't drink a lot of wines or beers, then it's not worth it. And the kids will have to buy the soda package, which is, I think the teens are about $10 or maybe a little bit more. So drink $10 of soda every day, which is a little bit excessive. Too much. Anyway, internet. They also sell internet, so on cruise, which is very expensive, $20 a day or something like that. I didn't buy any internet on the cruise because when we got to the ports, most of the ports actually do have Wi-Fi, so you don't have to worry about it. If you really have to use the internet, just wait until you get off the ship. And I also booked excursions independently without going through the cruise line. The downside of that is a lot of fishing guides are contracted exclusively with the cruise line, so you may not be able to find any fishing guides to take you out fishing. Similarly with the other kind of excursions, they may be contracted with the cruise line, but you know what, you should try your best to find the deals over the internet, the excursions over the internet, and book them in advance before you go there. Of course, there's a risk of the weather is not cooperating, and you booked a helicopter, for example, and then the weather was just not good. But a lot of time, if the weather is not good, the excursion people will just cancel the trip, so refund you the money. So I don't think it's a big deal to. The downside is certainly less versus the upside, which is you save a few bucks here and there. Now, how much did it cost per person? Let's talk about airfare. So from DC to Anchorage and Vancouver, back to DC, which is about $600 for me. I booked it way before my August trip, something like March. I started watching the airfares by using this website, which is metrics.atasoftware.com. You can use it. It's very useful. To me, it's better than the Google or the Hotwires or those typical flight search. And here is a look of the flight search engine, and you cannot book it through this website. You really have to find the flight number of the thing, and then you go to the individual airline company and book it through their website. You will be finding the same price. It's not going to be different from what's here. So by using this website, so it's pretty good. That's what I did. I saved a bunch, with all my travel. And the next thing is car rentals. You have to rent car in Anchorage. Well, you don't have to rent in Anchorage, but in Vancouver you do. I use carrentals.com. I also use the individual, like avis.com, like alamo.com and so forth. But I found the carrentals.com. They were able to give me the best rates, so I just booked it through them, and I use all kinds of rental companies for the car, like Fox. One of them I used was Fox, and the other was Alamo or whatever. It doesn't matter, A lot of time, if you go with just the Avis or the Hertz or whatever, you get off the plan and you ended up waiting in lines, and the line tend to be long because a lot of people know budgets.com, Hertz or Avis, but they don't know any of the other smaller companies like Fox, like whatever. Some of those no names rental company. The competition is there. You just have to find it. And the next thing is the shuttle bus. You have to get a shuttle bus if you want to fly out of Anchorage or fly into Anchorage. For my trip, it was a fly into Anchorage. So I have to take a shuttle bus from Anchorage Airport to Seward, Alaska, which is the terminal for the port, or terminal for the Norwegian Sun cruise line. I booked the bus trip for $40 per person over the internet before I left, and if you book it through the cruise line, I remember it was something like $55 per person or $54 per person, and so I saved a few dollars there. And then when I got to Vancouver, I just took the Metro. It's only 2 blocks from the ship terminal, and then I took it to the Canada Place, which is the port. We get off the cruise line to the airport, and it's only $4 Canadian dollars per person. It's very convenient, only 20 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that, even during rush hour. And it saved a lot. Certainly you can take a taxi, but it's more money. Cruise charge and service charge, it's about, whatever. I think Norwegian Sun, we booked it because I chose the upper decks instead of the cheapest, so it was a little bit more money. But in any case, so when did I take it? 7 days, from August 24th to 31st. It's best you can take it in July. It's more money, but you get the weather tend to be better. And then the August or the June and August are both a little bit colder than July, and so, but that's the time, the week I was able to go, so that's why I picked that week. Excursion in each of the ports. I see straight points. Just see my YouTube whale watching and the town description videos. Juneau, which is the capital videos to come. Skagway, that's see my YouTube White Pass and Yukon videos. Ketchikan, see my YouTube Ketchikan videos, including a series of video where I was able to catch 2 salmon, and I lost 2 salmon, so I hooked a total of 4 fish, silver salmon, and it's only cost me $50, and in 2 hours of my precious time on the excursion, which is pretty good. At Ketchikan or any of these places, you should, or you may want to research before you leave if you can rent bikes or if you can rent golf cars. That will help you to cover more ground, to see more. Vancouver, you can see my YouTube Vancouver video series. The tips, you want to log into your, create your Norwegian Sun account, and check in and print the boarding documents, and you want to book the complimentary cruise ship restaurants before leaving home. Here's what I did. Let me see if I have it here. Here we go. So as you can see, we left Seward, Alaska on Monday, 9 p.m. So the check-in time is 7 p.m. You have to get to the Seward, Alaska, the latest at 7 p.m. because it does take 2 hours to go through the security and so forth. Then Tuesday we got to the Glacier. Wednesday we got to the Icy Strait Point. We were at Icy Strait Point from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In Juneau, 7 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. It's a very, very short, very, very short stop for Juneau. It's only the morning. It does have Wi-Fi. You can get Wi-Fi even from the Norwegian Sun. So the Wi-Fi is very strong at the dock, so it's very good here. You get free Wi-Fi. And then, Thursday we went to Seward Glacier, and then Friday we went to Skagway from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's a long day. You can do the White Pass and Yukon train and bus combination tour. It's only $229 per person. So I also posted a few videos. You want to check them out. Ketchikan was a short stay as well. As the 1 p.m. we docked, and then we left the Ketchikan at 8 p.m. It's 7 hours, and in that town, so not much not much time to squander if you want to cover a lot of ground. There's very good salmon fishing and viewing on Creek Street. You should check them out. It's right in downtown. Lastly is the Vancouver 8 a.m. As you can see, I booked these dining rooms. They're Four Seasons and the Seven Seas, 2 dining rooms. They're complimentary, so I just switch between the 2 restaurants, the complimentary restaurants. The lunchtime and breakfast you can eat in these 2 restaurants, but you don't need to make reservation. First come, first serve. So that's the document. So you do want to print that out before you. That's called the boarding documents when you go. And what would I have done differently if I go again? Probably instead of flying all the way, I want to do a fly drive to Anchorage, Alaska, and to fly direct, or to fly direct between DC and Vancouver versus to fly to Seattle, drive to Vancouver, because it's only 3 hours drive. It's only 140 miles between Vancouver and Seattle. I found the airfare difference to fly direct versus to Vancouver versus to fly to Seattle and then drive to Vancouver. I didn't save much with the drive and fly option. That's why I just flew to Vancouver directly from DC, or flew from Vancouver to DC directly without doing the fly and drive combination. So it all depends on what you find, but this gives you an idea. The last one is you want to pay the cruise costs and the service charge, which is per person per night on time. Don't miss the payment deadline, because they do break it up into a couple installments. So you want to pay them on time so you don't have to pay interest penalty. That's the tips that I have, and do more advanced research for each port before leaving home, and rent bikes and or golf carts for the excursions in advance if possible before you leave home, because you're going to save abundant if you do your homework before your trip. So that's the tips for Alaska. I'll show you other stuff on second